I'm Tim, welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Ulysse Nardin Chronosplit Berlin 1907, 18 karat yellow gold and polished stainless steel, 40 millimeters in diameter. You can buy this Berlin 1907 on our website, watchyowant.com, and if you like these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist this rare mid-90s Ulysse Nardin reference has tremendous character, and quite honestly, it's one of the most impressive examples of content and character that I've ever encountered, because this watch, exceptionally rare, is distinguished in form and function. First, let's talk about the form. 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. That's the size of my wrist, so you get a good sense of this watch's proportions. It's a great example of timeless design cues, but in a modern size. So it reads as a vintage watch, but it wears like a modern watch. You can see it fills out my wrist because it has large, flared, and distinctively fluted lugs, so it's a nice balance between lug extension and case size. It also wears comfortably. It has a rounded case back, so although 13.5 millimeters thick, it does sort of nestle into the wrist, and so it sits lower than 13.5 millimeters, and you can see from this profile shot just how rounded the roughly convex case and bezel are. A sleeve can easily get a running start on that flank and ride up and over it, so it's a fantastic formal option for a long sleeve or a cuff. And the dial itself is a real highlight here. Contrast is what this watch is all about, but other than the contrast between the two metals, it's all about subtlety of contrast. So you make your splash with just enough gold for effect, but not enough to overwhelm, and then you dive into this dial. Let's talk about the ways it's different. First and foremost, look at that sub-register at 3 o'clock. Those are your hours and minutes right there. An unconventional take on time layout, Ulysse Nardin uses diagonally, or rather I should say horizontally opposed sub-registers to express the hours, minutes, and seconds of the day. And they also use contrasting mother of pearl. You can see a bright, almost iridescent silver right here at 9 o'clock for the constant seconds, and then a sort of rose-colored mother of pearl at 12 and 6 for the chronograph sub-registers, minutes and hours respectively. Now, you also have contrast between the rising convex bezel and then the dished concave tachometer chapter ring, and that chapter ring dives down to a flat, straight-grained hashed minute track that runs around the circumference of the dial. And again, contrast is the word here. There is a clou de Paris hour track inboard of the minutes. The clou de Paris is gorgeous, engraved, and serves as a backdrop for the applied gold hour indices, all of the highest quality. It's a striking contrast both in texture as well as color. Now you'll see that the inner dial is a sort of satin metallic that contrasts beautifully with the clou de Paris of the hour track, as well as the mother of pearl in the sub-registers. This is a beautiful composition, balanced, delicate, discreet, and original. It gives the watch a ton of character, and in combination with the beautiful gold applied indices and the blued hands on each sub-register, it's got just enough color to avoid sterility. So it's discreet, it's elegant, but it's not cold. In fact, it has great visual warmth. And speaking of warmth, it also has visual fireworks, because the Berlin 1907 is a split-second chronograph, as you probably gauged from the name, Chronosplit, and the abundance of pushers on the case flanks. This is the split-second or rattrapant chronograph function. Now, Ulysse Nardin gives you that functionality to stop 1 second's hand while the other continues and time 2 separate events simultaneously. So from sailboats to race cars to your kids' track meet, you've got a practical complication that's also an absolute blast to use and show off to friends. I find that pound for pound, it's hard to beat a split-second chronograph for visual interest in the complications class. Second, perhaps only to a foudroyant. Now, of course, it does work as a conventional chronograph, so you can run the hands in unison, stop them in unison, and then reset them in unison, so you have that functional option as well. Now, it's a surprisingly burly case at 40 millimeters with these butch fluted lugs for a dress reference, so this is a very versatile watch, being mostly steel with a nice burly size and heft to it. This watch can work well with short sleeves, so it does have a sort of dress versatility as well as a complication that can find use in a broad manner of applications. Now the watch uses what's known as Ulysse Nardin caliber 58, so unidirectional winding, very efficient, automatic. It has roughly a 44-hour power reserve, 27 joules. It is a split-second chronograph based on the tried-and-true Valjoux 7750. And I want to emphasize that because when I talk about the versatility of the watch with different types of attire, I want to emphasize that this is a watch that you can wear on all occasions. Unlike many high complications, this is not a delicate watch. It's not a prima donna. It's not a diva. It's going to be able to take almost all of the slings, arrows, knocks, and shocks to which you would subject any conventional 7750 reference. So very distinctive in every way, also very rare. Ulysse Nardin in the mid-90s was a company that built only a few thousand watches a year. So think between about 5 and 10,000 a year, split over many model lines and many individual models, and you begin to get a sense, almost 20 years later, of just how few of these you're likely to see. By the standards of modern luxury watch production, this one is a drop in the bucket, and if you buy it, you're likely to have the only one you'll ever encounter. Now, the name 1907 pays tribute to one of the many occasions, and there have been thousands over the years, in which the historic Ulysse Nardin Company took its chronometers to a universal exhibition, in this case Berlin 1907, and won big time. Ulysse Nardin takes special pride in its heritage, and that's the great thing about the company. When you buy a UN, you're getting a watch that pays deference to its traditions, often in a very literal and many times artistically standout fashion, but you're also getting a timepiece that's contemporary in terms of watchmaking content as well as proportions and style. This is about as versatile and appealing, with about as much content and character as you can get in this price range. Tremendous value, content, character, it's a standout. And if that sounds good to you, you can see this Ulysse Nardin Chronosplit Berlin 1907 Rattrapant chronograph on our website, watchyouwant.com.